rebellion from affronts to our agency and autonomy. So I'll give a story. We can end up giving our power away even when we are rebelling in order to gain power. So for example, if someone experiences in their life, perhaps their family says, all of my children will always be dressed immaculately. Anytime we leave the house or anyone comes to our house, all of my children must always be in perfect, presentable form, wearing very amazingly impressive clothing, and their hair must be worn in such a way. Everyone in my family must live this way. That can feel like an affront to the agency of the children, that they're not allowed to choose how they're going to dress or do their hair. Let's say it's really extreme. Everyone must wear their hair in a tight ballerina bun at all times, and they're not allowed to do their hair any other way. So that can feel like an affront to the agency, that the daughters in this family are not allowed to do their hair down, ponytail, in any other way. And so there are two options. If there's something that has to do with our own physical autonomy and sovereignty as a person and our agency about how we choose to move, think, act, feel, express, then we can give away all of our power and say, okay, here, I'll give my power to you, and I conform, I concede, I'll do whatever you say. I now do my hair in a tight ballerina bun every day for my whole life. Or a person can do the exact opposite and say, no, I'm not going to. In fact, I'm going to intentionally do my hair in different ways every single day, just to not be conforming and giving away my power to this family unit or these parents. So both of them are controlled by this rule. Even the one rebelling, so the first one that just says, okay, done, I'll release any desires I have to do my hair in any other way, and I will just agree to whatever you say I have to do. That is an obvious demonstration of giving over their power. The second one is not doing the rule. They're doing everything but the rule, but they are still controlled by it because they are in a tug of war with the rule. Does that make sense? So we can be controlled by something even when we're rebelling, and rebelling actually can be a form of not having our power. Let's give another example for that. Say someone is told as a child that you must be smiling all day long, you're never allowed to not be smiling, and if you are not smiling, you'll get in trouble. You'll receive being in trouble and a punishment. So that is an affront to their own agency, that they're not allowed to feel sad or feel any other emotion besides happiness, according to this person, their parent who told them this. They're not allowed to feel any other emotion. They're not allowed to choose what position their face is in and what their facial muscles are doing. They're not allowed to choose when they're going to express and what they're going to express with their face. So anytime our agency is attacked, it doesn't feel good, because it's a universal law that we all have agency. It's a universal truth. It is ours and it belongs to us. And that little oh, that doesn't feel right, that doesn't feel good, that doesn't feel right, is a wound to our agency. And when a wound to our agency is present and hasn't been healed yet or helped to be able to get to resolution, it will need us to rebel. So I see that same person after they've grown up and they have this wound where they were told, you're not allowed to have any other facial expression besides a smile. Their system may rebel and say, I'm not going to smile. Like, I get to choose what my face does and when I express, and I'm still so mad that someone told me I had to smile, that I'm not going to smile anymore. Or I'm definitely not going to smile if it's a situation where people might want me to, for a picture or at a party where people might have the expectation that everyone's going to be smiling here. I'm going to need to actually intentionally not smile. because to agree or concede to either someone's specific request, hey, please smile for this picture, or everyone please act happy while you're at my party, or hey, I want you to look happier, why don't you smile more? Their system might specifically need to rebel against any of those to show their inner child that when their agency was harmed in that early childhood experience, it wasn't okay. That it wasn't okay. And if they concede, so they'll need to rebel against current situations in order to have solidarity, show solidarity to their inner child, and to show their inner child that it wasn't okay, and that it mattered, that it happened, and that it's not okay to pretend like it never happened, and that it's okay for it to continue happening now. Say there's someone in their life who does the same thing, who says, you'll be in trouble if you're not smiling. Now they're an adult and out in the world. For the same thing to act like that's okay and to go along with that would feel like an ongoing wound to that inner child. So even if that person likes to smile, and smiling releases a lot of happy chemicals in the body, it does a lot of good things for our energy and our physical body and our mind and our emotional state and our relationships and communication. Like, it does a lot of good for us. That person, even if they know that, and even if they felt that, they might feel their system intentionally drawn to rebel against it and to need to not do it and to not want to do it because of that wound to their agency. So the interesting thing is that this can happen with anything. Anytime that our agency is wounded, or any other kind of experience that is traumatic or doesn't respect our autonomy or respect us as a being, it can create a wound, and it can create a repulsion, an aversion to that thing, even if it's healthy. In body code, we call it an idea allergy, that now negative energy got put on top of an idea, and now that idea is repulsive. It feels like an allergy. The system does not like it. It does not want it. It doesn't feel good. So for this person, smiling, the concept of smiling can now have this negative energy on top of it. Trauma energy of being told you don't have freedom to choose when you're going to smile. I demand that you smile all the time or you'll get punished. Now smiling does not feel good. The interesting thing is that the main thing that the system needs is to hear acknowledgement that it wasn't okay. It wasn't okay that you were treated that way. It actually was against universal law. It actually was inappropriate and disrespectful to your being and your sovereignty. It was not an okay thing that happened, and it was not okay to be treated that way. And after the inner child and the system receives that, it can be surprising how quickly it shifts and the pain around that topic can release. And then it can become free to and accessible. That the person, instead of having an aversion or repulsion and need to rebel against it, once that trauma energy gets cleaned off, it's just accessible. It becomes normal again. That the landscape becomes normal. I can choose to smile and I feel fine about it. I can choose a different facial expression and I can feel fine about it. I feel full freedom to feel happy, to feel sad, to feel curious, to feel anything. And it all is back to baseline of normal and accessible. So when there's a rebellion energy on something, it makes it less accessible, and it can go on forever. Like we can be controlled by our need to rebel against things, even if it's not good for us. If a young child was bullied about healthy, so if someone, so say we've got two siblings, one of them eats really, really healthy. In every concept of healthy eating that exists, this sibling has done, and they bullied this other sibling about it. Sure, you're not good enough. You're never going to be good enough unless you eat healthy. Your life isn't going to go well unless you eat healthy. People aren't going to be your friend unless you eat healthy, etc. that person can end up with an aversion to healthy food. And the same thing, a need to show solidarity to their inner child that experienced, to the parts of their system that has the wounds of being told, your life's not going to go well, no one's going to want to be your friend, you're not good enough. None of those things are healthy or true or resonate with the truth of that being, so that will feel like a wound and affront to their being, and also their agency, that they have the right to be able to choose and not be forced or abused into certain actions. And so a similar thing can happen where even if they love biking and they love hiking, but their system has an aversion to healthy food, and therefore it needs to only eat foods that are not healthy for it, and it causes sickness and low energy, and it causes all these unhelpful, undesirable outcomes. Even then, their system might still need to not eat healthy food to stand in solidarity with the inner child who carries the wounds of those experiences. And it can feel like, to just do it can feel like an abandonment to the inner child, of telling their child, like, oh yeah, sure, you got told those harsh, non-truthful things, and it doesn't matter. It's fine. It's fine. It's not a problem at all. It's not a problem to be treated that way. So same thing, until the inner child hears it was not okay. That was not okay to be treated that way. That was an untrue, harmful ways to be treated that are not in alignment with you. That is not, you don't deserve to be treated that way. That's not who you are. You actually, and they aren't true statements either. And you didn't deserve to hear those or have those directed towards you. So I feel like I'm rambling now, but so there we go. Rebellion can happen, and even to things that are positive, even to things that are beneficial to us, and our system can still continue rebelling against them even after we clearly consciously know eating these foods makes me sick and gives me a headache, makes me miss a day of work, makes me not be able to play with my kids, makes me throw up. Like, eating these foods makes me sick. But still, the system can have an aversion to eating the healthy foods because of that wound. So going through the process of healing it can clear things off and help acknowledge that piece of ourself that, yeah, it wasn't okay. That's not actually an okay way to be treated. We don't deserve that. Okay, so I'm curious, what rebellions have you noticed? Do you notice in your life? I'll share one. Honestly, some part of me experienced pressure, I think from just society. Like, it just adopted a rule about dressing a certain way. I don't even know where this came from, but there just was this little bit of, like, this little something about society expects people to dress a certain way. And so a part of me's had resistance, and it's like, and even though getting just basic level, so you can get dressed up for prom, you can get dressed up for a wedding, you can get dressed up just for a normal day to go out of the house and go shopping. It's like all different levels. There was resistance around getting ready, just getting ready, and it would need to rebel against it, and it would show up in ways of not getting ready, or not getting ready at the beginning of the day, getting ready later. And even when I noticed that just for myself, like, what do I want? Like, oh, I like it. I like getting ready. I like getting ready at this time of day. I like getting ready in this way, like to this level or degree. It feels really good for me. And I could even identify and list the benefits that would happen for me, and there would still be resistance around it. And it would still keep not happening. And it was same thing. So it was something that's beneficial for me that I want, that I would want to choose, I like having in my life. But there was resistance, almost from an inner child saying, like, needing to know that we have the freedom and the right to choose for ourselves. We're not doing it because other people or the society around me is making me do it. I actually have the freedom to do it for me and however I want to, whatever I want to, everything. I'm not controlled by the society around me. I get to choose. And it's not tied to my worth. It's not tied to if I'm going to have friends. It's not tied to, I don't know, if, like whatever unhealthy beliefs could get connected to it, which can be found out. You can do that just through journaling or through a body code session. And there's tons of other ways, just by meditating and asking your system, by saying like, I hate having to get ready because, and then just listen for the first thing that comes to your mind. And that's usually it. And you're usually surprised because it usually doesn't make sense at all, because some false limiting beliefs don't make sense. Anyway, so my system wanted to know, have whatever false belief was tied to it cleared and rebalanced, so that wasn't the reason why I was doing it. Like if someone said you have to wear a blouse every day, or you have to wear overalls every day, or else you'll get physically abused, then the system, if I ever was putting on overalls again, like later after this, that didn't happen, obviously, but it's just an example. If on a later date that person chose to wear overalls, their system might want to know, like, wait, we don't want to be controlled by other people. Are you doing this because you want to, or are you doing this to concede power to someone who wants to abuse you? So the system can want to know, like, we only want to do things from our own sovereignty, not because we are giving our power away to an outside force that wants to abuse us and disrespect our agency. Okay. In closing, you can observe and ask, why am I doing this? Throughout the day, just ask, why am I doing this? And especially notice if there's things that would be beneficial for you, that have healthy, nutritious outcomes, mentally, emotionally, etc. And even that you've seen other people have healthy outcomes from, but if you feel any resistance inside your system, like, no, I don't like that, or I'm not going to do that. Or even it can feel like a full-on tantrum, like a toddler tantrum inside. Like, no! Anywhere you find that, you can explore. And just simply asking, or doing the journal prompt of whatever it is. So say it's smiling. We'll use that one. If someone says like, hey, let's see your smile, and you feel that response, then a great journaling prompt would be, I hate smiling because, or I don't like to smile because, I don't want to smile because, and then get your brain out of it and just let the hand free flow and write whatever just dumps out, without judgment, without thinking about it, without trying to restrict it or modify it. Just let it come out. And that is a really great way to let your inner child, or wherever it's stored in your system, be able to tell you, be able to get it out. And it can often be things you never would have thought of. And then after you do it, you can respond back to it like in a conversation. Yeah, like if it said, if it writes, I don't like to smile because other people won't let me have other emotions. I'm not allowed to even feel my feelings. I'm not allowed to express myself. If they want me to smile, it means it's a space where I'm not respected for my own expressions. If someone wants me to smile, it means that it's not a safe place where all of me is welcome. They only want certain things from me. They want me to perform. They want me to pretend so that they can feel better. And I don't like that, or whatever. So then after whatever comes out through free writing, then you can have a chance to respond to it, just like you would with a real child in front of you, and say, oh, I'm so sorry that you experienced that. That wasn't okay, that happened, that you experienced being treated that way. I want you to be able to have all of your emotions. I am okay and comfortable with you feeling your emotions. I won't require you to smile. I give you freedom. Yeah, that's a big one. I give you freedom to feel whatever you feel, express what you want to express, smile when you want to. I give you permission to have freedom. That's a good one. All right. Feel free to share your experiences below or any thoughts, and enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this concept.